Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Or in Brandy's case, good afternoon.
Yes, it is 3 p.m. for me.
You guys sounded like you had some fun, rowdy weekends.
Just a couple. I'll let Brandy go first.
Well, yes, I am halfway through my European wedding tour. So I did the wedding in Menorca. I spent a couple days in Madrid. Now I'm in Lisbon, and tomorrow going to the second wedding, which is an all-week affair. So this
Polish
is
wedding?
it's an Indian wedding, and it's so there's like every day there's like different events, one of which includes a dance that I'm trying to learn. So stay tuned.
Nice.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm not on a wedding tour, but I did go to a wedding. Shout out to Nick and Courtney Smith now. Congratulations. But yeah, I was pretty much sober the whole time, but I stayed out to the last song on the dance floor, and definitely am feeling it this morning.
I can see it now, just sweat dripping down.
100%. Shirts unbuttoned, untucked, just covered in sweat. Scarring families left and right. It was a good time.
I had a 5-year-old's birthday party and had a swim day yesterday at the pool. So I know you can all tell by my new shade of skin color that I spent all day.
You're so tan.
Yep. It happens to me in the summer. I can't help it, you know? But Brandy, it does not look like you're in a short-term rental.
I am not.
I'm just going to call you out.
I've been staying at short-term rentals. I'm in a very nice hotel called the Barrio Alto Hotel in Lisbon. My friends got a short-term rental, an apartment like around the corner, and I kind of joined late. And so thanks to credit card points, I chose the cheapest, or not the cheapest, the closest hotel, and it happened to be super nice. And honestly, it's one of those when you're traveling by yourself, like it's pretty nice.
Yeah. I love that. What credit card by any chance did you get these points from?
Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Ooh, okay.
Not
I just got the Chase Sapphire. No, I'm like not battling between. I want to get an Amex next, but yeah, I got the Capital One, Chase Sapphire, and then going for Amex after. So give them all a try, you know.
In other news, 2 weeks from today is our first retreat. We're officially full. So if you're interested, sorry, too late. We'll hopefully do another one either later in the year, probably same time next year. But it's going to be a good time. We're putting some finishing touches on the agenda items, but it's coming together.
Yeah, I'm excited for some of the goodies that we got in store for everybody. It's been kind of fun.
Brandy might not even know one or two of the surprises we got.
I know. We've been keeping Brandy kind of, hidden in the corner to say, like, don't pay attention to this information over here. We're gonna.
That's okay. All the free space in my brain has been about weddings. So
yeah, I don't blame you. But yeah, I'm excited. I also want to give a very quick, easy, amazing shout out to our partners at Sojo, who make Mondays suck less, just like they make turn days suck less. So obviously, you know what? Hangry guests. Brandy could have checked into her hotel, her vacation rental, and not had anything stocked, no amenities, no snacks, no nothing. and that would have sucked. So get with Sojo. You get 30 days free of amenities or their pantry kit. So check out their pantry options. Go to getsojo.com/GMH. Let them know that the gang, the crew, the OG Monday crew sent you. And we hope you love what you get with Sojo. So now, before we get into everything, Michael, I think, what story do we want to start off with, actually? Does it make sense to start with Brandy?
Let's start
in the
out with
sense of,
probably my favorite hotel brand, Ace Hotels, is no longer, at least in the LA downtown location. And I'm not sure I'd ever been to that one, but I love the one in New York. I love the one in New Orleans. It's sad to see that rebrand, but it has rebranded and it's gone service light. So Casa has taken over the operations of that building. And Brandy can probably dive into this a little bit better than I can, but seeing how much short-term rentals have learned from hotels over the past decade, it's really cool to see that transition now where all of the operations and efficiencies and headcount light property styles that short-term rental operators like Brandy use going into a formerly iconic hotel. So Brandy, I'll flip it to you on what this means more broadly. And I'd love to learn if Romy has any ideas on taking over traditional hotel unit style or sticking with apartments.
Well, so we have a couple of buildings right now that are, singular like hotel rooms. And this is where I think it's really interesting because there's been this, rivalry between STRs and hotels. And I think that my prediction going forward is that the distinction of what a hotel is might actually be the delineation of the type of service that you're getting. So, you might have, with Casa's taking it over, I highly doubt it's going to be staffed the way that Ace Hotel was. That's one of the most exorbitant costs you have, right? Is your payroll. And so it's going to be, you get your check-in code, you go up, maybe there's an F&B component that's still leasing the space, but you're probably not going to have that high, obviously you're not going to have that high touch. And, we've talked about Casa previously on here, kind of going in three directions at once. And I mean, I think they're probably trying new things to drive more revenue and, seeing what works. And so, I mean, it's a big building though. And I think that that's really one of the interesting things is that, if you're operating a 70 unit building, that's very different than like 150 more, how many rooms that building has. And so it just becomes a different type of game. Like there is a different ops relationship and strategy to organizing a hotel versus STR. I do think it could be a bit easier. Like coordinating all those cleans is way more predictable and way easier than coordinating the cleans of like 50 homes across 3 counties. So they might have some more efficiencies there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is kind of a separate topic, like same topic, but separate kind of point. And I've been talking to a lot of hoteliers because, as you guys know, and maybe for the listeners that don't, our management company, took over a couple of hotels, and we do, like, obviously they're way smaller than the Ace Hotel. So like, this is not even a comparable oranges to oranges here, but having this staff light model has been really great because you can implement the tech and have like one person at the bar who is like managing, like being the host basically, without giving key cards to check in. But I think the interesting thing that I'm having in the sense of conversations with hoteliers, I'm hearing a lot of hoteliers that got into hospitality through short-term rentals first and then went to the hotel side, and they feel like they have to keep their short-term rental experience quiet because of the hotel community doesn't like really love short-term rentals still yet.
Attitude.
There is, and yet they're creating an inventory type like Marriott Apartments or whatever without saying short-term rentals that really does hint like it's a urban short-term rental. So it's really interesting because then you have the hoteliers that come over to our side, short-term rental side, and then it's like, oh yeah, we fully welcome. Come on, bring your experience, bring your hospitality learnings and education over the last 10, 15, 20 years. So it's really interesting to hear those conversations and how, yes, there are hybrids, but there's still, I feels like I hate the side, right? Like there's still that choose, like what side are you?
Yeah, like, I think so. Just taking my experience, we went to the wedding I was at in Menorca was at Amagatai, which is this incredible boutique resort, and it was like the level of hospitality is incredible. Same thing at this hotel, and I think that that is kind of like it really feels like extreme hospitality
Mm,
because there's 3 concierge guys at the front, like there's the porters bringing your bags up. There's, it's heavily, heavily staffed. And
yeah,
then I think that that might be where some of the hotel side gets a little bit like up in arms because so much of you do lose some of that hospitality level or the type of hospitality changes when you
yeah,
go to a limited service model or into an STR. Like you just don't have as many people. You're not having that interaction. But I think that, people are choosing to buy that product and their expectation of the hospitality type and level changes. And I don't think
yeah.
it's better or worse. It's just different.
I think,
It's
yeah,
the comment you made. I want to circle back to it. It's funny that hotel people are kind of scared to talk about short-term rentals. Doing short-term rentals in a traditional multifamily building where there's a family living next door to you, I get how that would scare you into not doing it. But if you're a hotel operator, you're scared of short-term rentals, there's literally no difference. It is transient occupancy. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
one person, 4 people. That's no different than a hotel room. You could have a hotel room with 4 or even 5 people if it's a family with a small kid, right?
Mhm.
But it's so funny how people are just scared of Airbnb. And
Mhm.
there's the hotel lobby's done a great job of putting out and pumping out all these horror stories. And in fact, there was another horror story. Was it over the weekend, Brandy?
Yeah, I think it was last week in LA.
Mm.
Yeah, where a tourist was robbed in an East Hollywood short-term rental that was violating the ordinance in LA. So illegal short-term rental, robbery. It's got all the great, talking points that a hotel lobby could push and fight for. So
Yet, if the hotel has the right inventory, maybe a couple suites, condominium type style like room, guess what? They're listing on Airbnb. They're listing on those
if they're
platforms
smart,
if they're smart. But
a lot of
yeah,
them don't.
a lot
The
of them
other
do,
thing
but
that's
they
crazy
they
to
get away
me
with it with that hotel license. Sorry, Randy.
The other thing that's crazy to me though is like they talk about all this crazy stuff that happens in STRs. Do we want to go down the list of crazy shit that happens in a hotel? Because it is at a much
Let's
higher
go,
volume and a
Randy
much
Rant.
crazier scale. Like I mean, it's just not as juicy. If you were like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, there was a drug ring and a prostitution ring and a murder in the hotel, like that's not getting the press headlines. But I mean, obviously a robbery is not good at all, but I'm saying like
yeah.
it's not like hotels are like everything here is super good. My boyfriend on the way back from Spain, he stayed at a hotel near JFK with Andreas, our CEO, and it was like bulletproof glass around everything. And it's like, some stuff is going down in that airport hotel if they have bulletproof glass surrounding the lobby, like desk. So it's just a juicier story and one that like people are controlling the narrative around all of
Yeah,
this.
100%. Yeah, I remember my hotel days, like front desk agent, like finding out there was this one guest that came back and wanted the same room every time. And then finally, after months and months, we found out there was stashed cocaine behind like the paintings and all this other stuff. And I had to yeah, he got caught eventually, but it was insane. Like this is all stuff that happens inside the hotel. It's just never shared. And
I
then don't
talked
even go
to
down. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I talked to a hotel GM that they had 300 or 400, maybe 500 units. It was a massive hotel. And I don't know how we got onto the topic, but he said they have plans for when someone dies in a unit, or when cops show up and need to arrest somebody in the unit, or when they find this, that, or the other, right? And I think probably a lot of operators have SOPs when they find drugs or guns in units. I'm from Atlanta. I know that's an often thing that has happened in the operators that I'm buddies with. But the crazier thing is, just like having a plan for when someone gets killed in your hotel or someone overdoses or something like that. Like, I'd be hard pressed to think there's many short-term rental operators that have that level of SOPs in place.
No, it's the first time it happens, you're like, I guess we have to create an SOP for this now.
And Steve Turk from our hotel crew chiming in. He's worked in both hotels and has a short-term rental company, and he has way crazier stories working in hotels than short-term rentals. So, the scare tactics and stories that the media pumps, they're all true. No one's denying it. It's just those stories see the light of day a lot more often.
Well, I think kind of getting back to the original story about the Ace Hotel and Casa taking it over, this is one, Sonder obviously had added hotels to their portfolio. But this, I think, is making the bigger splash because Ace is there's a real feeling when you go and like a vibe in an Ace hotel. And it's like, okay, is Costa's goal to, obviously they've taken on the building, are they trying to maintain that and, still have that kind of feeling? Or are they like, no, this is becoming a Casa building and it's not a hotel. So it'll be interesting to see what the vibe is. But I think it also speaks to, the changes in downtown areas. Like I was saying, downtown LA, things have rebounded, but the lack of business travel really hurt, hotels like the Ace.
Yeah, back in like the early COVID days with my other podcast, Slick Talk, I actually interviewed the founders that created the Ace brand at the Portland property, and really, really cool stuff. But again, they did mention on the, I clearly remember them saying, yeah, if anyone else took this over, it is no longer Ace, right? Like Ace is also like branded, to your point. In my opinion, I think it comes into the service level, right? Like the Ace is not just the brand, but it's the service and the way that you are treated by the employees and the staff and the team when you enter and arrive. Now it's going to be very, very different. And I think, moving forward, instead of like we've seen this bridge and gap between hotels and short-term rentals kind of merge more and more, hybrid hotels and condom or apart hotels or whatever you want to call it. We've seen it for a long time. It's not like a new thing, but I love your definition of like, oh yeah, I'm staying at a hotel. Well, the definition of a hotel is really going to depend on the service. Is it going to be light? Is it you get a key code and you have someone at the bar who can hang out with you and tell you all the good restaurants to go to? Or is it going to be like a full staff check-in with a digital, or not a digital key, but one of those little key cards and all the fun little things that you do at normal hotels? So should be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see, particularly like Marriott Apartments, their brand. Are they going to be managing it? Are they going to third party it? Like maybe Brandy might be under an NDA, but are they shopping around management with well-known urban operators that are used to that type of inventory? Or is that something they're going to try and fit a square peg into a round hole with their traditional hotel management with fewer heads, because they've already said it's going to be more headcount light? I don't know the answer. Do y'all?
No, but I think that's a good point. And I also think that, Apartments by Marriott, like that's not the first, that's not the last hotel we've seen that's going to kind of dabble into that. Although I think maybe people might go through acquisitions rather than kind of like the natural, I don't know. We'll see. Skeptical, but I just think the kind of back to the battle between the industries, I just don't think it's necessary at all. And I mean, obviously I'm biased, I'm in this industry, but like for me, being in this hotel, there's this amazing level of service and everything, but it fits me because it's just one person. Like, if my friends are staying in an apartment around the corner, if there's 7 of them, this would not work. So I just don't think we have to have this battle. And I'm excited to see Casa kind of really lead the charge with this big building, and we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Brandy, you're in Barcelona, and there was some news that came out this week. it's 5 years from now, so it's less scary than like the New York news that just kind of hammer drops, no more short-term rentals. But the hammer has dropped, and there will be no more short-term rentals in 5 years in Barcelona, according to this. Now, I think there's a lot of political jockeying here. It's easy for a politician to come in and say, oh, we're going to ban this thing that most of my residents don't like in 5 years, and then knowing they're not going to be in office in 5 years and let somebody else deal with it. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's definitely taken the easy way out. Whoever made that decision, I'm not educated enough to say who made that decision for the city, but you took the easy way out. But if it holds, I mean, that's one of the biggest markets out there. New York, Paris, Barcelona, Tokyo, like those are the biggest markets. And if that domino has fallen after the New York domino has fallen, what's next and what does that mean? So, Brandy, I'll turn it over to you. What are people saying in Barcelona right now as this news breaks?
Well, I'm in Lisbon, so not Barcelona, but if I was, but I kind of, when I saw the story, it made me look around Lisbon right now as like, because so Lisbon has seen, and Portugal in general has seen this massive burst of tourism. The building that my friends are staying in, I think like almost every unit in the building is a short-term rental. It must be one, an agreement on the buildings. But you see, the last time I was in Lisbon, like 5 years ago, there was obviously tourists here, but the volume right now is significantly more noticeable, right? And I think that Lisbon is right now embracing all of all the tourism and STRs and all of this, but I'm worried, or I would be kind of like cautious about in the future, 5 years down the line, when they kind of might reach like a Barcelona status of like the over tourism and people are getting upset that like apartments in the town center are so expensive or whatever. Like that's the over tourism in Barcelona is like the impetus really for all of this, right? And people just being really frustrated and then not having a clear, like having people who are upset make emotional legislative proposals, and then the leaders not, it's not, the sensible policy isn't being made of like, okay, do we want to reduce by like a percentage to like reduce crowding or something like that? It's all very like emotional legislation. And I could see that very easily happening here if, Lisbon gets to that kind of popularity and overcrowding, because it's not pleasant to be in. So you understand why people get pissed. But to your point, it's like, oh, so you're just going to take everything away? Like, I think the tax revenue component to this is also like, have some restrictions or whatever, have a cap. I don't know. Like there's other ways to creatively control the number of STRs that you have. And then if you have a problem, like not enough affordable housing, which is one of the big, kind of like complaints in Barcelona, use that tax revenue to fund, publicly funded workforce housing projects or something of that nature. So so I don't know totally what the sentiment on the street in Barcelona is. I would hazard a guess, though, that if you asked, a local person on the street, they're probably going to be pretty pumped about this, unless they own one of the STRs, in which case they're probably pretty pissed.
Yeah, and you'll hear more from our European crew next week about this, because it's been a conversation in our WhatsApp chat as we're talking about content for them for next week. And Sarah, she lives in Barcelona. She's obviously she was with AirDNA, but she was like, holy crap, this is this could be pretty big. And I know Rafi just mentioned with I think it was in Paris or somewhere in France, they just had a new election that caused some regulation issues. And so just a bunch of political stuff that can happen and makes a pretty big change, whether it's in 5 years or effective immediately, So
well, I also, to Michael's point, it's like I like politically, I mean, for that government group or that person, like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. I've made the change. I'm going to punt it for a couple of years so that I don't have to deal with any of the aftermath or the consequences of this legislation. And then also it gives them time in case they want to like amend it Or I think that might be the silver lining, is that if there's probably going to be lawsuits or some sort of legal action, and then maybe the end result is in 2029, maybe there's a little bit more of a compromise instead of like a total ban.
Yeah, I'm curious. So we see, like, Michael, you mentioned the dominoes,
Yeah.
you know, I think we got a little lag, but you mentioned the dominoes falling in New York, and then like the dominoes falling here, and like these are extreme. Whether again, like New York, it happened pretty quick. Barcelona, it can happen in 5 years. It could get extended for another 10. Who knows? Do you guys think? And I even want our listeners that are tuning in live, like, is there going to be a reversal? Are these cities going to be like, oh crap, like we actually need the tourism. We want the tourism back, and hotels just don't, like, they're not being built fast enough. They're not, able to hold all the people that we want. The only
I
other
doubt it
option
for New
really
York,
is
but yeah.
I doubt it for New York, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of spread. I'd say for vertical cities, probably so. So like a Tokyo or a New York, but Barcelona is pretty spread out, and the density in any given building is not what it is in other markets. I do think we've seen a number of cities limit it to a number of licenses. I don't hate that if the licenses are, if it's more than 5, but if
There's
it's
one
something
license.
yeah, if it's something that encapsulates the amount of demand without necessarily making it an over tourist market. That's what all these cities are trying to avoid, is over tourism. So capping some of it is fine, but if you're capping it, then you should also, and your goal is to solve over tourism, you should also cap the number of hotels that can be built. And to Amsterdam's credit or discredit, they capped that like 10 years ago. So there's no net new hotels being built in Amsterdam. And to my knowledge, there's very few, if any, short-term rentals allowed in the city.
Yeah. And like right now we're so used to just being able to like, oh, me and my 10 friends are just going to book the biggest like condo we can find on, Airbnb or Vrbo or whatever. But, the traveler behavior will change. And so, some of these, I think it'll take many years to kind of see that behavior change, because it took many years to get to this point. But maybe your big group trip isn't to Amsterdam, or it's not to Barcelona. Maybe you fly into Barcelona and you go to a beach town and you get a big house. You know what I mean? I think that's, people will still, it's not going to be like, oh no, where am I going to go on vacation? It's like, it's just, the cities in the end might end up being the losers, or maybe not. Maybe they're going to be happy with the result. So I don't know. It remains to be seen.
Wasn't New York complaining about hotel prices the other day?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, when you take away competition, then price can go up.
Yeah, it's like the hotels, though. I mean, like, big props. Like, what a great marketing lobbying campaign.
Airbnb, hire the hotel lobby away from them and for your benefit. So,
but we also know a lot of those hotels are being used as like migrant shelters right now, and many of the owners have clearly said like there's no way we're opening up to the public again after this is done. Like,
well, downtown LA was the same way for homeless during COVID, and I mean, I think still some of them are half homeless and half transient, which is a weird mix. But yeah, it's predicting what's going to happen in travel 5 years from now. If we look back 5 years ago, it was 2019. It was the best travel year any of us had ever seen. Everyone's killing it, raising tons of money, and now it's like no one's raised anything in ages. I will say, back to the lobbying part, I believe Airbnb had a huge government relations team, like 40 people globally, and I think it's down to like 5. So, read into that as you will. And then I'll give credit to the Vrbo Expedia team, particularly the Vrbo team. What's most important, sorry, Brandy, for the entire industry is like the traditional vacation rental markets. if those start getting banned, then there is like
Yeah.
an existential threat to the industry.
For sure.
If just urban gets banned, I mean, Brandy is one of the 2 still standing, really, in urban markets. So you guys in Casa, I guess Mint House as well to some extent. But all of you guys look more like hotels than you do short-term rentals, except you have better spaces with kitchens and
and
cater more towards families and groups.
Yeah.
So I think predicting 5 years out is impossible for any of us. Who knows when the next pandemic hits? We're about to hit a fun election season. So Will's eyes go cross-eyed, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think bad regulation spreads, good regulation also spreads. So it's just a matter of what the people in the cities want.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, it's been a fun show. We're ending right on the dot, 30 minutes in. Love it. Love that for us. It's big win. Brandy, I know. So you're in Lisbon now. Where are you off to next? What's
tomorrow we take the train to the Algarve, which is in the south of Portugal. And that's where the wedding is. And then I fly to London on Sunday because of weird flights, and I'm just there for one day, and then I fly back to Miami. So I will not be on next week because I will be in the air coming back home.
And you won't be on the following week, but Will and I will be live together right before the retreat kicks in.
We'll be locking it in, and I'm going on a little camping trip before the 4th of July and before the retreat. So I'm going to be offline, no phone, no nothing.
Great.
I'm gone.
Leave it all to me, guys. Thank y'all.
Yeah, July 3rd. July 3rd, I'm out. See ya. I'll see you guys after the retreat. No, Michael, what do you got going this week? Anything exciting? Come on, give us something. Every week you just say, same thing. Grinding, put my head down.
Working on some fun stuff at Nook, putting some pieces together for this retreat, some cool little finishing touches. Hans has been fantastic at creating the ideas and the wow moments. So hopefully that translates for everybody.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I will respond to the email today, by the way, Michael. I know you're
late.
You said it on air, so that is a real solid commitment.
Hans and Sheila at the hotel, I will respond today. I'll give you everything. Super good stuff. And yeah, I'm excited. Just a good week. I think I was telling my buddy David this morning, I was like, look, nothing big this week for me. I'm just excited because it's the week to get everything done before 4th of July and the retreat and all the other stuff. And I think I'm really looking forward to it. So it's going to be a good time. Thanks to all of our live listeners. We got Terry White, Jeremy Weiss, Steve Turk, our GMH hotel crew. Everyone's tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And you know what to do. Tomorrow, our GMH EU episode goes live. And then, thankfully, I'm hoping, since that Steve is now back from vacation, we get our hotel crew back this week since that they took last week off. And subscribe, follow the show. Let us know what you guys want to hear. Any stories that you may think are worth discussing. And of course, we'll see y'all next week. It's going to be a good time.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.